Welcome back, everybody. Today we're here to talk about Fear the Walking Dead Season 6 Episode 11, and we're going to be talking about the End is the Beginning group. I want to talk a little bit about what they could be doing. We're going to be looking at this sneak peek, breaking it down also, and then, like I said, talk about what their purpose is, how this plays into the future of Fear the Walking Dead, and just like who this group is in general, because they definitely are one of the more odd groups that we've had on The Walking Dead. And odd in the sense of like they're just doing things that we've never really seen before. They're just spray painting things. They're very quiet up to this point. They're doing weird things to walkers. But the show has done a phenomenal job leading up to this group. I mean, the Virginia stuff was great, but not only that, like teasing this group. Like they've been teasing this group since the first episode of season 6. And here we are, episode 11, finally getting them. And I like how we're like in this episode, it's gonna right away, like we're gonna see the group and be there at their base, you know. That's pretty cool, you know. There's no beating around the bush, and that's been a reason why Fear the Walking Dead has been so good this season. They've been they've been getting straight to the point and not, you know, beating around the bush for certain things. And again, we're going to be looking at the sneak peek where we get a pretty good look at what they're doing. Obviously, I want to give a general spoiler warning in case you aren't caught up with the show. And then also, if you're a fan of The Walking Dead, be sure to hit the subscribe button for more content like this. But yeah, let's get into the video. So yeah, the end is the beginning. There's some sort of like philosophical, you know, I don't know, maybe even artsy you might call, based on their drawings and paintings and stuff like that. They also, now that we're actually looking at their base, you know, they're doing a lot of things with science and technology, and they have essentially like a whole community down there with power and electricity and all that kind of stuff, which is something that's pretty rare on The Walking Dead. And I think it's even more impressive that they're doing all of this underground. But that being said, this group is definitely a little suspicious. And the trailer, excuse me, not the trailer, the opening, not the opening minutes either, the sneak peek opens up with Luciana talking to this guy, who seems to have some high position. We don't know his name just yet. We also know that older guy who we have scenes with Alicia in the trailer. We know he's also, I think, like a pretty important character with this group. He might be the leader, but this guy is also some sort of a high position in this community. And he's talking to Luciana. Luciana's like saying, I was in a place like this before. And the guy quickly says, like, I don't think you're ever in a place like this. Luciana says, how can you be so sure? And the guy's like, because there is no place like this. And yeah, that's really interesting. I guess in terms of for what they're doing, yeah, I mean, they don't really know everything about the other communities that we know about. But yeah, I mean, there's a CRM in the Commonwealth, which are also very high, you know, high advanced groups, you know, within The Walking Dead. You know, they have things that a lot of other people on The Walking Dead don't have. Obviously, they might not know that just yet. But I do also think he may have a point in terms of what they're doing for vegetation, and, you know, growing stuff and getting food and all that kind of stuff. Their process is a little bit weird, so I think, you know, he does have a point, because I have never seen something like that on The Walking Dead. I mean, we haven't, so he does have a point when it comes to that. And he's taking Alicia and Althea on a little bit of a tour where he's showing them how they do things. And basically they have this machine here which grinds up walkers and sort of decomposes them, I guess. It's super weird, and the guy explains that they break down the walkers for a couple months, and that's how they make meal for the chickens. So it's a way for them to breed and, you know, keep the chickens alive. And we saw in the trailer that they have like a whole kitchen back there. Like we saw, I mean, I put some images from the trailer, but they were like cutting up vegetables and all that kind of stuff. So they have a whole system down here. And while he's talking to Althea and Alicia and taking them on this tour, we get to see some of it at work. Like we can see all the plants and stuff on the side. Now that whole process where they're decomposing walkers and stuff like that, Alicia kind of questions, like, is it safe? And the guy's like, this is how living creatures have been decomposing since the beginning of time. And he, pretty much says like, yeah, it's safe, but this is definitely a little bit weird. I mean, that's why I think a lot of people are sort of comparing this group to Terminus. I definitely see the similarities for sure. So we'll see if this group is more like Terminus. Like, it does kind of sound like Terminus with what they're doing with the walkers. Although, like, Terminus is doing it to people. I mean, but we don't know what they're doing. Like, we don't know if they're good or bad, or they hurting people, or they killing people and turning them into walkers. Like, we don't know just yet. So that's why, those, that relation between Terminus, or that comparison between Terminus and this group is definitely one that I think is interesting and one to keep an eye for, because we'll see. I mean, it's hard to trust anybody on the zombie apocalypse. And that's the thing I want to talk about in a little bit. Like, what is the purpose of this group? Are they really going to help out? Do they have something, bigger for the future? Or are they just another, problem for the group to deal with, like another group? But we'll talk about that in just a moment. I want to get to the rest of the sneak peek. So yeah, the guy is explaining their process. And then he calls them posters. He calls walkers posters, and I was like, posters? So that's kind of funny. We have a bunch of different names, because remember, like, zombies the word zombie doesn't exist in this show, because they don't have that whole pop culture thing that we do, Night of the Living Dead, all that kind of stuff. So, like, we've heard walkers, and, like, I think we've heard freaks and posters, MTs on The World Beyond. So there's been a whole bunch of stuff. So that's kind of interesting to see them come up with new names with every community. I mean, I think it's cool. Like, I kind of wish they do more of that, because everyone sort of just calls them walkers, because of the main group kind of just gets everyone to call them walkers. But I always think it's interesting when there's other names for them. But here's where things get interesting. So Althea then says, food, water, power, it's impressive. It also feels like you're preparing for something. And that kind of sparked something in me that I wasn't really thinking about earlier with their whole motto, the end is the beginning. Whenever I read that, I always thought of, like, I was always just comparing walkers and life, because that kind of is what they're also doing now. Like, we saw the whole like the guy was showing Alicia with the walker who was attached to the tree. Now we're seeing them use walkers for other things. So that's what I was thinking about earlier, like, just connecting walkers to the beginning of life or something like that. But now I'm kind of thinking, like, the end is the beginning. When Althea said, like, it also feels like you're preparing for something, it makes me feel like the end was only the beginning. Like, the walkers were only the beginning of what's to come, which is kind of scary to think about. Like, are they preparing? Like Althea said, like, are you preparing for something? Like, there's something else you're preparing for, which is kind of scary to think about. What else could they be preparing for? And that's what I'm kind of thinking now. Like, the end was only the beginning. There's more to come. So what do you guys think about that? So what do you guys think? Because, like, everyone is sort of just surviving and doing their own thing. What could they potentially be preparing for? Another group? Aliens? I don't know. I mean, what do you guys think about that? But that was a really interesting thing that Althea said. And I think they are preparing for something, because Althea, I mean, why else would Althea say that? Althea is also a journalist. So, that's, a pretty good question, something that she might just sense. I don't see her have her camera in the sneak peek, which I don't know why. Maybe they don't let her record anything. Because this is surely something that Althea would want to record, so maybe they just don't let her record it. But that was a really good question from Althea, because now I'm kind of rethinking what I thought about their name. I mean, I still think it can go both ways. Like, the end is the beginning, using the end, which is walkers, to help them with things. But they may potentially be saying that there's more to come. So yeah, a couple things there, like, first of all, that, and then also, can this group even be trusted? That goes back to the whole, relation to Terminus. Terminus was a group that was pretending to be helpful at first. And we don't know if this group is even pretending to be helpful. I mean, Virginia was scared of the group. Like, Virginia was warning them about this group. So, and the group is here, like Althea, Luciana, and Alicia, they're all there, you know, and I don't see anyone else. I think Wes is also there. Um, and that's all I've seen from the trailers and stuff like that. So they sound like a small group there. So maybe they're just exploring. But we'll see what happens with this group. And then also, you know, in connection to the bigger or to the future of the show, what do you guys think that could be? Do you think they're gonna have a connection to anything big, or would they just be another group that the group has to deal with right now? I think they're just gonna be another group that the characters have to deal with. I don't think they would add another major group like the Commonwealth or the CRM. I mean, they could for Fear the Walking Dead if they wanna, because that's another thing. Like the universes are all connected now. I don't know if they're working towards one end goal or like each show will have an end. Because I mean, Fear the Walking Dead did get renewed for a season 7, so I'm not thinking about like the end for that just yet. But what if this is you know, the big thing for Fear the Walking Dead? What do you guys think about that? I mean, Fear the Walking Dead has already shown the CRM, so maybe they even know about the CRM. Maybe the CRM is the reason they're so you know, trying to prepare for stuff. So lots of questions with this group, definitely mysterious. I'm very excited that we're finally getting them on the show and to see what's up with them. Hopefully we get some more answers after this episode. But that was a sneak peek, so I am gonna wrap it up there. I just wanted to talk about the end as the beginning, talk about this new idea that I had about the group, and the sneak peek. But I'm definitely interested in hearing your thoughts and opinions about the group. Who do you think they are? What's their purpose? You know, let me know your thoughts and theories about this group. I'm definitely interested. But again, I'm gonna wrap it up there, so hopefully you guys did enjoy. If you did, be sure to leave a like rating, and for more Walking Dead videos like this, be sure to subscribe. And as always, thanks for watching, please take care, and I'll see you guys soon.